So my name is Mrinal Debnath. I am a born-again Canadian, a Canadian citizen, but that's not my actual identity. I was born back in Bangladesh. That was as a minority, I was growing there. And my research site is Bangladesh. Although I did research under the University of Toronto, like Sociology and Equity Studies department. So that was my doctoral program that I did my research on. And this section is part of that research that I did. Okay, so I'm a survivor of, in 1971, there was 3 million people killed in Bangladesh. And I was born that time, a few years before that. So I'm a survivor there. So I know how it means to be a minority. I was growing up as a minority boy. I was schooled there, and I saw the land was sleeping away from our community as being minority there. I lost uh, a lot of land property. And when I came to the West, like came to Canada, actually I was a visiting scholar at a university in the USA, APU, as a Pacific University. And then I came to Canada for my doctoral studies at the University of Toronto. Then I realized the colonization, the actual sense of colonization came from there through my doctoral studies at the Department of Sociology and Equity Studies. So I was a minority boy. I was marginalized on many cases, but actual sense of colonization, how that was the case, it gave me a lot of insight that why the colonization is still in practices. And in my doctoral studies, I challenged the notion that colonization is over. It's a past incident. It's not that. It's not time. It's not frozen in time. That's the view of colonization. Colonization has a wider implication, and it's something imposed domination because of this like geopolitical reason, colonization is not feasible, like land colonization, like conquering a country, a nation is not feasible financially. So what they have been doing, colonization has become like mutated. It's everywhere now. It's in the West, in the East, and it's not any more territorial control. It's controlling the mind and also challenging this existence of indigenous people and other minority peoples. So that's colonization. It's a domination, the imposing domination on others. It can be in many forms. So colonization is now mutated, and it's like overarching, it's everywhere. So indigenous sites, indigenous people's lives, they are the victims of new colonization, we can call it recolonization. So I found that there are three components that where colonization exists. Colonization is thriving and surviving. That is land, indigenous land, and their religion, their language. Those three aspects. Actually, religion is part of culture. So it's a cultural issue in terms of language, and land is a material base, and also language, the means of communication. It's a domination of majority language, the dominant language, dominant culture, and dominant worldview. The indigenous people everywhere, like in North America, in the continent of Australia, in Europe, and in many Asian countries, the indigenous site, the people who are still surviving despite modernization, they are the victim of recolonization. That's present day colonization. And my research is based on that. So in this article, I was focusing on the land issue. In Bangladesh, the people, actually, I was working with indigenous people called Santal. Santal is like ancient Adivashi, they'll call in Indian term, in Santal called Adivashi, ancient people. They are colonial race, And according to Max Muller, they're the called, what's it called? Max Muller called them linguistically, they are like ostrich. Like the people in Australia also, they speak the same language, Munda family of language. So these people, they are the actual inventor of agriculture in India. It's maybe 10,000 years old that goes back. And these people are still surviving, but they're surviving on the edge. They have lost their cultural identity. They're losing, actually, not lost. They're losing their cultural identity, their political position, and their material position. All these are affected by so-called nation state, the emergence of nation state that happened in 1947. British colonized them. When the British left, the nation state, Pakistan, Bangladesh, India, they are colonizing them because their land is being grabbed. By whom? By the mainstream people, by the constitution, and by the profit mongers, the majority people. British left, but it's still colonization in existence. So that's the case. So my case was, methodologically, I was there a considerable amount of time. I lived with them more than 3 months, and I came to know about them. It's not, my research is not about them. This is from them, what I learned from them. So this is, I try to decolonize the methodology. It's not Western model of the methodology that I followed. I was with them so that I can have a rapport with them. I can have a very good relation with them so then they can trust me. Without trust, I cannot have any, information from them. So my data collection was based on, empathy and understanding and through interaction.